Yeah.
So I think it's just willful decisions on our own part to dedicate ourselves to growing on both aspects.
One of my favorite apologists, his name is David Wood. Very, very intelligent.
What kind of wood?
I would say David Wood what?
Oak. Willow.
It was drawback. Do you tell what you do?
I was.
Welcome to my bad jokes. Welcome.
I was like, oh. I started going through all the
David
Wood, Chuck, Wood.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
WOULD. But yeah, so David Wood, he mostly does ministry directed towards the Islamic community. Very sarcastic, very comedic in a lot of ways, and it's been banned off all platforms. Anyways, he is a clinically diagnosed psychopath, and he did a podcast or a YouTube video one day, and just to basically discuss, can psychopaths love? And when you think about that,
Did you share this? I think you shared this.
Maybe so.
On like socials.
Yeah.
Maybe so. But essentially, just the concept of love, anyways, because we did a podcast on Black Men Do Talk.
Shout out.
Black Men Do Talk. It's a podcast. You know what I'm saying? Overdue conversation from Black men perspective. But yeah, so essentially, we talked about love because even though I'm not on the extreme of a psychopath, I hope not. Psychopaths literally do not feel any guilt. They cannot feel guilt, and so he was able to bash his father's head with a hammer when he was younger. He didn't die. But still, it's just the fact he did that.
This your favorite?
We gonna need some context for that part.
So that's
dude that I love
after he ends up being like in a psych ward. That's when he was actually like diagnosed with psychopathy. Yeah. And it's just interesting because when we think of that and say, hey, someone who has no guilt, lacks heavily in empathy, is in a loving marriage.
Right.
And we conclude love to just be the emotion. And a lot of times, love is also just the commitment.
Very much so.
Like even if I don't feel like it, even if I don't want to do, even if my desire, my inner, you know what I'm saying? It's like no, cognitively, I realize even though I lack heavily in emotional empathy, the person that can literally see somebody crying and just turn around, I'm like, man, I wish I had that. Because it's like, man, you're able to feel what they feel, but also realize it's kind of, it has its defaults too.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm a cognitive empath. I'm able to see something and be like, okay, I may not be able to feel what you're feeling, but I'm gonna find how many tissues we need. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, what can be done? What logically can happen right now? And knowing that a lot of times when it comes to our love towards God, knowing that we have the Word as a standard, we don't have to always feel like it, but we're still honoring God by doing it based off our commitment to Him.
Yeah.
Our contract with Him, our agreement with Him. And sticking to that contract, I think it's important, especially when you start talking about even things like marriage. When people say, man, like, I don't always love my wife. I hear that all the time. I don't always love my husband. I'm not always attracted. I'm not always, it's like, yeah, but you still have that commitment.
True. You
still have that dedication. And say God brought y'all together, and so love is also continuing and doing things when the emotion isn't there.